So you want to become an international lawyer, or you are considering understanding what an international lawyer is? Stay tuned, I think I can tell you quite a lot about it. Hi everyone, my name is Federich and I'm a lawyer with more than 15 years experience working across different countries, across different legal domains. And today I would like to give you my little perspective about what it means to work as an international lawyer. So it may sound fancy and cool to use the word international next to your job title, but it's not so obvious and straightforward for certain professions. And the law is one of those. And you gotta pay attention whether you want to use that word next to your job title, unless you want to risk ruining your reputation. So as I said, law is one of those domains where using the word international next to your job title only makes sense in a limited number of cases. There's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, law is a different domain compared to other traditional domains like engineering, medicine, or economics. Take economics, for example. One of the basic principles of economics is that the more you sell, the more likely it will be to have a profit. And similarly, in engineering, a basic principle is if you want to build a solid building, you have to have solid foundations. So you will not have a solid building unless you have solid foundations. And these are very traditional and global principles that apply everywhere, right? On the other hand, law is very much linked to a territory or a jurisdiction. Think about the law that is applicable to a contract or to a dispute. Normally, that is very much linked to a territory. And laws can change a lot depending on the territory because they are linked to habits, to costumes. Think about some laws establishing certain violations or offenses. For instance, in the UK, you have laws prohibiting you from walking cows during daylight hours. Or in Australia, you have laws prohibiting you from bringing more than 50 kilos of potatoes in your vehicle. That's crazy. Secondly, because law is very much linked to a territory, it's also linked to languages, to cultural heritage, to politics, which ultimately decides on laws. As a result, lawyers are traditionally local lawyers who know the territory dynamics, the life of those territories. And so lawyers are more closely linked to those places and to the habits of those territories. As a result, traditional lawyers are much more likely to be local lawyers rather than international lawyers, because lawyers know best the laws and the habits of certain specific territories, which is not the case when we speak about international lawyers. In fact, the law changes from country to country, and this makes it more difficult for lawyers to apply the laws of countries that they don't know. So, because of what I just explained, there is one big issue in law. If there is no international link or element as regards the matter you are working on, you're not working as an international lawyer, you are necessarily working as a local lawyer. So what can this international link be in law? So essentially there are two situations for there to be an international legal matter. The first is a situation which involves people or companies based in different territories or countries. And the second is a situation where the same law applies through different countries. Let's make an example of the first situation. Imagine you have Mr. Brown who sells garlic bread out of the United Kingdom, and then you have Mr. Martinez, who is a restaurant owner in Spain and wants to buy garlic bread for his restaurant in Spain. Well, in this situation, you will have two people based in two different territories, in two different countries, and so you will have to determine what is the applicable law in this specific situation. And then let's take an example of the second situation. You will still have Mr. Brown and Mr. Martinez based respectively in the UK and in Spain, but in this case, you will have an international law, an international treaty regulating the sale of garlic bread between people based in different countries. Well, also in that case, you will have an international legal matter which will be regulated by international law and an international treaty. So it may sound pretty easy. I'm a lawyer, I deal with a situation which has an international link, so I'm an international lawyer, right? Well, not really. See, to work as an international lawyer and deal with questions having an international link, you absolutely need to tick the following boxes. First of all, you have to get a law degree. Sounds quite obvious, right? But how can you work as a lawyer without a law degree? Ideally, you should get either a bachelor degree or a master's degree in law. And to be frank, my personal opinion is that you should get a Juris Doctor or a jurisprudence degree in law. Ideally, you should have more than one degree, a bachelor and a master together. That would be good to qualify as a lawyer and to work as a lawyer in most jurisdictions. So actually, if you have more than one law degree, that would be best. The second requirement to work as an international lawyer is to master different languages, as many languages as possible, and to master them at a very high level. You must be able to speak different languages at a very fluent level. And when I say fluent, I mean almost native speaker level, because it would not be sufficient to say, "Hi, my name is," I'm from Italy, Spain, France, or whatever else. When you work as a lawyer, you have to understand the nuances. You will have to do a lot of written communications. You will have to engage with clients, public bodies, and international organizations. So you will have to speak any language at very high level. And let me tell you one more thing in that respect. It's not very politically correct, but not all languages are the same. In fact, there is a number of vehicular languages that are more relevant, more important if you want to work as a lawyer internationally. I'm thinking about English, French, Spanish, or Chinese. These languages are widely spoken and they will give you a preferential access to the business and to the legal world. The third box which you have to tick is that you should be familiar with different legal systems. Ideally, you know more than one legal system. For example, you know the American legal system and the French legal system, so you will be able to compare these legal systems and to understand the law that is applied across different territories. Even more than that, it would be good if you also have good foundations of international law, which is a law that applies across different territories. Think about European Union law, that is a type of international law, and that would help you a lot to deal with different legal systems and to understand legal questions and legal matters of a different nature. If you're not familiar with different legal systems or with different types of laws, you may run the risk of misapplying the law, of misinterpreting it, of providing different or wrong legal advice, which may be a huge source of responsibility for lawyers and for those who are employing them. Then the fourth box you should tick is you should understand different cultural habits. And let me tell you, I can speak by experience. I work in different legal environments and in different countries, and I encountered people of different origin. I can make you a couple of examples. For instance, at one point I was working in an office with colleagues from Asia, from Northern Europe, and I am from South of Europe, and my approach is a very oral and direct approach, which some people may not accept. They may not welcome it. So I had to adapt to different approaches. I had to adapt my own approach to approaches which are based on more pragmatic principles and less analytical ones. Or maybe sometimes I had to relate to people in a bit of a softer way, in a bit of a more gentle and less open way, because people were used to those manners, right? A funny example relates to working hours. For instance, when I used to work in Italy as an international lawyer, I used to leave the office around 9:30. And if I left the office around 8:30, people and colleagues would tell me, "What are you doing? Are you working part-time today?" Because it would be early for them. Whereas in the north of Europe or in Belgium, where I currently live and work, people would tell me at 7:30 p.m., "What are you doing here? Are you spending your life in the office?" Fifth box that you have to tick is you have to build a network within the international law community. For instance, you may want to go to conferences, events, sign up to LinkedIn groups, connect to professionals who want to go the same path as you. And this is very much important because the international legal community is in the end quite small. And at one point you will know more and more people, and people know each other and they exchange contacts, and this can be very helpful for you. The sixth box that you have to tick is that you have to adapt. Have mental flexibility. So you will have to adapt to a different context, to different needs, to different people's needs, and you will have to reconsider, to understand the unspoken, to develop emotional intelligence, and to be more flexible towards different approaches. Then I will also mention a seventh box, which will mean that you will get extra points if you have a legal qualification, a bar admission, or a license in a certain country, and if you have a relevant working experience. But I will dedicate to this maybe another video because this deserves much more discussion and in my view is not strictly necessary. But if you enjoyed the video, I would kindly ask you to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, and I would very much welcome any feedback and comments on the content that I share, and as to whether you have any questions, curiosity or any doubt regarding the points I raised, please say, please, you are welcome. Speak soon. Peace.